Welcome to DIY Guitar Making, episode number 46, brought to you by Eric Schaefer Guitars. Learn more about my premium guitar making courses at ericschaeferguitars.com. Over the next 3 episodes, I'll be giving you content from the online guitar building school course, Building an OM Acoustic. This content is from the lesson on installing frets over the body. Installing frets over the body is ideal compared to fretting the board off the body. Ultimately, the results are better, but many people still struggle with it, so I hope this helps. For the full course, visit ericschaeferguitars.com. Today we're going to be fretting the instrument. We're going to be doing our fretting over the body. Generally, there's 2 different ways that people do this. With a fretting hammer and with a fret press. The workflow that I like to use actually involves using both the fret hammer and the fret press, so you'll get to see both of those techniques. Let's get started. Nickel silver is the most common choice for fret wire. Nickel silver fret wire can either be purchased as a pre-radiused coil or in long unradiused strands like you see here. Unradiused fret wire lends itself more easily to storing in a container like this, so often if you order large amounts of fret wire, it comes like this. In this case, you would have to radius the fret wire yourself. This is actually a lot easier than it sounds with a simple tool that you can either purchase from a luthier supplier or make yourself in less than an hour from inexpensive parts found in the window and door aisle of a Home Depot or Lowe's. On the left is a commercially available model from Stu Mac, and on the right is the homemade variety. They both work equally well. LMI sells plans for the homemade bender for just a couple of bucks. I won't be using nickel silver fret wire. Instead, I will be using Evo Gold fret wire. It is a copper alloy that is harder and more resistant to wear than nickel silver, but not as hard as stainless steel. I like the wear properties of this alloy. I also feel like I get a better transfer of tone when I play fretted notes. Lastly, the gold color looks really sharp with the gold Goto tuners that I use. There are some cons to using Evo Gold. The flip side of its good wear properties is that it is hard on your tools. If you do a lot of work with a variety of fret wire metals, then it is a good idea to maintain a set of files and fret nippers for nickel silver frets, which is probably the majority of your work, and a second set for work on harder frets like Evo Gold or stainless steel. The other con for Evo Gold is that it doesn't bend or radius easily. I purchased it from LMI and it is already pre-bent to a pretty curved radius, probably a 10-inch radius. This is good because it is already bent to an over radius. If you are bending your own fret wire, you want to bend it to either the exact radius of your fretboard or to a greater curvature. So a 10-inch radius works perfectly for my 12-inch radius fretboard. If you use under-radiused fret wire, then it will be difficult to get the ends to seat in the fret slots. Most people taking this course will be using nickel silver fret wire. Don't worry, everything I do from this point forward applies to nickel silver, Evo Gold, or stainless steel. Just make sure your fret wire has a matching radius or an over radius. When you purchase fret wire, you will notice that there are cross-sectional dimensions to consider like crown width, crown height, fret height, tang width, and stud width. The dimensions of the crown affect the feel of the fretboard to the player and the longevity of the frets as far as how many fret levels it can have before the instrument needs a refret. So it's a matter of personal preference whether you want wide or narrow frets or short or tall frets. The tang width and stud width, however, are critical to the fit of the fret in the fret slot. It is best to contact your supplier and ask if the fret wire you are choosing will work with the fret slot width that you are using. My fret slots are 23 thousandths of an inch wide, and these dimensions work great for me. I start by cleaning the fret wire that I will be using with naphtha. Suppliers coat their fret wire with oil to make it last in storage. It is important to remove these oils. Here I am simply inspecting the fret wire for manufacturing defects, specifically around the tang. You don't want to use a piece of fret wire with a crimped tang. Now I hold the coil of fret wire up to the first slot and cut the wire so that I have a fret that overhangs the slot by about 1/8 of an inch on each side. The nippers tend to bend the fret tang at the ends, so the overhang allows you to keep the damaged part of the tang away from the fret slot. I keep a block of wood with numbered holes drilled into it as an organizer for the individual frets, so I can keep track of which fret goes where. I cut the rest of the frets in this manner, with about 1/8 of an inch overhang, placing them in the numbered block as I go. Before we can check the depth of the fret slots, we need to clean them. Lots of wood dust has collected in the slots from radiusing the fretboard. You can use a variety of tools to do this as long as the tool's end is narrower than 23 thousandths of an inch, and that way it won't damage the fret slot. A razor blade and a fine brush works well, but I really like this hooked 19 thousandths of an inch blade that StewMax sells as a fret slot cleaning tool. Following up the fret slot cleaning tool with a fine brush helps to get the last little bit of wood dust out of the slots. I cut a tiny piece of fret wire for use as a depth checking tool. The studs are filed off of the tang so that the tang can drop into the fret slot easily without damaging it. Note that this file is smooth on the face and the cutting teeth are on the side, so the teeth are only cutting into the studs on the tang and not into the bottom of the crown. I check the ends of the fret slots because due to the radius, that is where they may be too shallow. If the ends are deep enough, then the middle should be deep enough. Notice the daylight beneath the tang. This slot is definitely deep enough. You might even say that it is too deep. But for now, it is okay, even preferable for the slots to be too deep. If the slot is too shallow, even by just a little bit, the fret won't seat properly, so err on the side of too deep. The extra space in the slots can be detrimental to the transmission of tone, so in a later lesson, we will fill that extra space. But again, for now, don't worry about slots that are too deep. Shallow slots are my only concern at this point. I check all the ends very carefully, and when I find a slot that permits no daylight beneath the tang, I mark it with chalk. The ends of these slots need to be deepened just a little bit. This fine-toothed back saw I reserved just for deepening fret slots. It has a 23 thousandths of an inch kerf designed specifically for cutting fret slots of this size. I purchased this saw from LMI. This really isn't as sketchy as it may look. The saw is sized perfectly so it fits right in the slot, and it only takes about half a stroke to cut as deep as I need to go. The teeth are angled to cut on the pull stroke, so only pushing rather than pulling allows me to creep up on the depth with more control. Notice how I angle the saw up slightly so that I am focusing only on the end of the fret slot closest to me. I'll get the other end of the slot when I finish all the ends on this side and flip the guitar around. In order to deepen the slots over the body, I need to first protect the soundboard. A single accidental cross-grain strike of the saw on the spruce can make a mark that is impossible to sand out. I use 2 thin veneers of scrap wood taped over the area to protect it. Now I flip the guitar around and deepen the slots on the other side. For more videos like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel here. But remember, not every episode of DIY guitar making is a video. I like to write too, so some episodes are written articles. For a full archive of episodes, go to my website, ericschaferguitars.com. Click the DIY guitar making tab, and you will find page after page of detailed guitar making tips. You can also subscribe to the email list to receive episodes in your inbox as they come out. Just enter your name and email and click Sign Up Now. It's free. While you're there, you can also click the Online Guitar Building School tab and check out the online course, Building an OM Acoustic, with more than 60 detailed instructional videos, discounts to luthier suppliers, and access to myself and a community of builders in the members forum. Finally, if you go to the Hands-On Guitar Building School tab, you can check availability and register for an intensive hands-on workshop with me in Burnville, Pennsylvania. That's all for now. See you later.